Hello guys, welcome back to Appsheet tutorial. So in this video, we're going to see about how to generate invoice in Appsheet. So invoice generation is an important topic in Appsheet in most of the accounting apps. So they need invoice, right? So for that, we're going to use the generate PDF function. So with that, some expressions for that invoice calculation, total amount. So yeah, let's create a new spreadsheet. Let's name it as invoice generation. So watch this full video so you will understand the automation of generation of PDF and how we incorporate the expressions inside the table of the Google Doc. So basically for invoice, um, let's create another sheet called products. Okay, so this is the main sheet. So here we're going to fetch the products, and then this is the invoice, and this is the invoice list. This is the parent child relationship we're going to create. So this is the invoice bill. Like, so invoice bill contains only one row. With that, for that bill, what are the invoice list of items? Invoice list of items. Let's name it as. So let's say like products, or what you can do is like product name, product name, and then price of the product. Okay, so let's say product name for laptop and price is $500, and mobile is $100, and desktop 300. So I created a product name and the respective price. So I created three products, and invoice bill. So what is invoice ID, and let's say date maybe. So invoice ID, date. So yeah, this is enough. And invoice list of items. Saying unique ID will create here invoice ID to map which invoice ID this is one. So the same one. Copy and paste this here. The same invoice ID and the product and the price of the product. So these two we are going to fetch it from here, and this is the invoice ID and date. So then invoice list of items with the respective we're going to map it, and this list of items we're going to generate as a PDF bill. Okay, so using the Google Doc and the table using start end function, so which is kind of loop. So if you have four products or three products, you have to create three rows right in the bill. So with the sum of the product, we're going to see how we are going to. Okay, so the invoice generation is a name. Let's create an app. It has invoice app, and do something. So we're going to choose the invoice generation spreadsheet as a data. Okay. So let's don't start customizing. Okay, so the product table is added automatically. Okay, so first close this and we'll go to the view. Sorry, we'll go to the table of the products and we'll change the column names. Okay, this name, price. Okay, this is perfect. So now we're going to add the other two tables. So invoice bill and invoice list of items. Okay, yeah, so another important part I forgot in the invoice bill. So once you added all the products, so we'll give generate bill, generate invoice. It's like a true or false trigger. Once it is S means we're going to generate the bill. Okay, so since we added a new column, we're going to generate the structure. And yeah, there's a summary. The invoice ID is the key column, which is a text type, and the initial value is unique ID, which is automatically generated. Is fine. And date, yeah, it's a date column, so everything is fine. Okay, after that, yeah, so this is the invoice bill, and we need to add the invoice list of items. Now we go to the columns of this invoice list of items. So here invoice ID, as we said, we're going to map this invoice bill with this invoice list of items. So this invoice ID should refer this invoice ID, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to ref this invoice ID to the invoice bill. Okay, yeah. Now then done. Okay. And so this is going to be it. That product also, it's a ref, which is a table of products, so it's automatically referencing the products, so we don't need to do anything. And after that, price, we need to fetch the price of the product from the products, right? So what we're going to do, we'll use the formula. Actually, yeah, we forgot to add, we'll add another column called quantity. Okay, so we'll make more dynamic quantity. Okay, and we'll regenerate the structure. So here, so based on the number of quantity, price we're going to multiply it, right? And for that formula, what we're going to use is the products, which we are going to fetch it from here. Products, since products is a reference, we'll use dot operator dereferencing product of price. Okay, so yeah, the value of price comes to reference by the product. Okay, so the respective price, products respective price will be generated here. Since the product is referencing to the products, the price we're going to put. Okay, so and we're going to multiply with the quantity. Yes, multiplications and the quantity. Okay, so this formula will give you the price of the okay, so now everything is fine. Now you have to create the automation bot for generating the PDF. So that's why we have added in the invoice bill. If we see the column, the generate invoice, right? So here, if the this value is true, then we are going to generate. So let's create an action button for that. So before that, uh, we'll go to the invoice bill. First we'll save this. Yeah, so now we'll create a new bill. So actually we don't need to show the invoice ID. So this generate invoice also will need to show. First we need to add first list of items, right? And for adding the list of items, so since we are already relating referencing this list of items to this invoice bill, so we forgot to give the flash is a part of, so that here we can able to add. So this is a part of check, so these rows will be considered part of the reference table. They can be added as inline items in the form view of the reference table. So it is a form view, so we need to show this as a part of list of items. So we'll just check this, and once we save, now see the invoice list of item entries. Okay, so here what are the things we're going to add in the bill? So date and this I make it as today, and new is, so here also we will unshow unnecessary columns. So unique ID, so we'll check unique ID, and invoice ID is already the same. Okay, since it's labeling as date, see if you see here, sorry, so invoice ID is showing as date, right? Since the label is date, it's showing as date, so now it's fine. And so but we don't, it's okay, we show the invoice ID and the products which we are referring quantity we'll check. So laptop, which is $500, I'm going to give two quantity, let's give 1000, and we'll make this quantity as mandatory, product mandatory. Yeah, that's it. So it's perfect. Now we created the data structure. Now the second part is how we going to generate in automation pattern. So first I will create for today's date the product laptop 32, the price we got saved, and we're going to add another mobile, save as 3. Okay, I have to wait. Okay, so invoice, change this label as, oh, okay, since the invoice ID shows we unchecked, it's not enabling label as, so we'll make it a show and make it non editable. Okay, so now we create another bill, invoice ID laptop 82, let's save. We will create another invoice mobile, save 3 quantity, and we'll save it, and finally we'll save it. So for this invoice bill, today's date and created invoice ID, the respective product quantity prices gets generated. So now we're going to create a invoice bill from the automation bot. So that's the second part. So yeah, now we'll create a new automation bot, new bot. I'll name it as invoice generation bot. Something, create a custom bot. Okay, invoice generation bot. So event is like create a custom event. So the data change, the table is invoice bill, right? So in this table, if the generate invoice is S, which is true, means column generate invoice equal to true, means I'm going to execute this bot. Okay, so yeah, this event and that's updates only. We're going to update it. Okay, so now we don't need it, we don't have any security filters, we just bypass. So add a step, create a custom step. So once this event is triggered, we have to create a data action, run task. It's not about task, it's a data action. So let's create a new action, which is a sorry, it's a task. So the task what we are going to do is create a new file, right? So in this file, the HTTP content type is PDF. Select PDF. We're going to generate the bill PDF, and then for that we need to create a template how the invoice should look like, and we'll create it. So this is the template of the PDF. Here we're going to do give our expressions how the bill look like, and the file store which is default, and file folder path you can give if you want. So basically it will store in the Appsheet. If you go to your drive, Appsheet data, and check for invoice generation and invoice app. So invoice app. Okay, so here it will generate whatever the folder name you are giving here. So file folder path I am giving as maybe invoices. Okay, okay, now we save it. So here, and the file name what we're going to give is the invoice ID, right? Okay, it's the invoice ID, and we'll disable timestamp, maybe because if you are generating a lot of invoice with the same ID, it will create more. So that's why we will disable timestamp. I will explain you what is this timestamp. So as of now we will just disable it, and then we'll just save. So yeah, we have to go to the template of this. So once you create it, go to the view. So Appsheet will create a basic template of your invoice. So see, you have it will automatically created the invoice for you. Invoice ID, date, invoices of items. So it's wonderful, right? So actually we don't need to. This is the expressions. So whatever the invoice bill is the parent, and this is the child invoice list of items. So based on this parent child relationship we have given the reference, it automatically created the, see if you see this invoice ID which is coming from this invoice ID. Okay, and the date is coming here, and invoice ID, this product quantity price, these are all coming from this invoice list of items. Product quantity price. Okay, and the invoice ID is the related list of items. So how it works is like so the start colon. So if you have, now in this we have two rows, right? So it will create two rows of table. If we have three rows of that invoice ID, it will create three times, it will loops. So which means start and end, it's kind of loop. Okay, so so this, in between this whatever the expression we have, so it will loop two times. In this case we have two rows, this invoice ID, product quantity price. So the related invoice list of items. Okay, and the invoice ID and the product quantity price. So the first row will get come populated, and the second loop of the also will execute based on this start end function. So the related invoice list of items means, so if you see in this app data columns, the related invoice list of items, right, which is referencing the invoice line, so give which will give the count of 2, right? So with the respective invoice ID and the product quantity price will loop and second. So instead of I will generate, I will you can understand clearly. So we'll remove this new task. So okay, now the condition which we have given for the automation bot, so the new event will get triggered only if the generate invoice is true. So we'll create a action button, of invoice bill, generate invoice is true. Okay, generate invoice, right? Now we'll save this. So if you see for this invoice bill, generate invoice buttons there. So invoice ID, the related products. So I'm going to generate. So once I sync, let's see the generation of PDF. So it's taking time because since the automation bot of generating PDF, it will take some time. So now it's done. So see the we go to the automation. So we have given the file path slash invoices slash. So it's created the invoices folder, and if you see the 77C43C2, so just the generation ID which we have given invoice ID as the file name prefix 77C4T3C2, so which is the invoice ID of the bill. Okay, and we'll open this. See how it looks like. So invoice ID is 774 and product mobile 3 quantity price and laptop which is quantity 2 and price $7. So everything came right. So yeah, so this is how the start end works. Okay, so if you want to open this file, we have to add another step. So as of now the file gets generated in the invoices folder, but if you want to open it from the app sheet itself, you have to create another step for opening this file. So for that, what we need to do is, so we will create another column called invoice file path, and we will generate, yeah, so we'll increase the structure, because every time we can't generate and we can't able to go and check the file name, right? And if you see the 77C43T0 with additional number came, right, 10831 dash, so which is the timestamp which we have to disable it. Okay, so disable timestamp, the timestamp suffix is not added, file names may not be unique. Okay, fine, so fine, so we will disable it, so then only we should know the exact file name to open it from the app sheet itself. Okay, so we will disable it, and in the data we, so the invoice file path came, which is the file image of full path. Okay. So here we have got, once we have generated the invoice, sorry, automation, we'll add a new step, file path. Okay. Click the custom step and run a data action. Create new action, set row values, which is invoice file path. So which is like, so how the file path looks like. Appsheet slash data slash and the invoice ID. Okay. So you have to concatenate this. Concatenate. So if you where the file path looks Appsheet, oh, so it should be invoice data slash invoice app dash 111442891. Okay. So Appsheet slash data slash invoice, and we have to give the four also. Invoice app dash one invoice app dash 1442891 slash invoices. Okay. Invoices, then slash the invoice, the respective invoice ID. So everything works fine. Then save this, and based on this file path we're going to create a new action. Okay. So the action name is open invoice. Let's say open invoice, invoice bill, open a file. Okay. And the column is invoice file path. Okay. So which we have generated. Open a file. Now let's save. Let's delete this. We need delete this also. Let's freshly create a new invoice. Maybe we'll save another one. Okay. So first we don't need to show this file path. Let's remove the show. Now we will new product. I'm going to create 3 products. Save. Set a new one. A mobile, which we're going to buy 5. Save desktop 3, and then we'll save this. Now this is the newly created one. We'll send the new. Okay, so the new action, we don't need to show this new action. Now in the appearance, on display. So first we will generate invoice, then we'll open the invoice. Now if you open it, it won't work. Okay. So for that, what we can do is open invoice should appear only if it's not blank. So currently it will blank. Once we generate the PDF, the file path will get generated. Then we will show this action button. Okay. Sorry, it's not blank. Now we'll save this. This. Okay. Now we'll generate the invoice for this three items, and once we generate it, let's generate this. So the open invoice button should appear, right, based on this condition. So if you see the file path got generated, okay. So if you see the app sheet data invoice app slash 1442891 invoices slash 7B1C185. So we will check the 7BV1C185. Okay, actually we missed the .pdf. It won't work. Yes, yeah, so we missed that .pdf. Since it's a PDF file, it will .pdf should come, right? And so what we're going to do is the automation file path will and okay. Sorry, I missed the PDF. So now we'll just manually use .pdf and we'll try to open it. Let's see it works or not. I'll just sync it out. Open invoice. Oh, yeah, now it's came. Right, so see the dot. You open invoice. You can directly open it from the app sheet itself, right? Okay, guys. So this is a sample invoice generation. So you can further you can total this price and you can add the total price using the virtual column. Okay, so maybe I'll show how to do that. We want a total, so we'll do that in this invoice bill list of items. Data columns here. Simply what you can do is, so you have the invoice ID, right? So you just make it as sum of invoice ID, sum of the invoice list of items and the price, and the filter condition will be the invoice ID. Okay, so that you can get the total sum of the price. If you have any doubt, just leave a comment. Okay, so and thanks for watching, and hit the subscribe and notification icon, and further we will see some more interesting automations in Appsheet. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye guys.